more pressure on these players on Into the Breach, which I mean, it's not like they haven't been in this spot before. That's one of the things that comes to you in spades if you play a map so consistently. They understand what it's like to be in a deficit.
tabseN also just had a little bit of his armor chipped away towards the very end because of the bomb blast. He had to rebuy up. Not the biggest deal in the world, especially when you're up against USBs, but yeah. All things.
Yeah, one of the things that just kind of sucks about the bomb radius sometimes on certain maps.
Full strafe out. Mac-10 will find nothing, actually. That was being set up for a little bit of money, and instead now tabseN has to put up a show. Comes in with 3, and will keep it going, and the show will go on. Michael tabseN with the full anti-eco ace. There you have it.
Yeah, I mean, just... It looked quite simple when it's in tabseN's hands, just 180ing back and forth between each of the respective angle, anticipating that they were trying to get a kill where he wasn't looking at them directly. I've actually been seeing a lot more, and it's something that I've adopted myself, is that Galil's against the anti-eco is I mean, it just feels better than having an SMG a lot of times. I know you don't make as much money, but at least if they have armor, you still feel like you have a fair fight. Oh,
Wow.
that looked like a sitter of a frag for Rollin.
Yeah, it looked like he had that every day of the week, but instead, Crimbo's left on, what, half an HP point, something like that?
I think that's even feasibly possible.
Around it. Crucial. Bomb is also been dropped behind hype, let's not forget, so although they can recover it and start to move back, that still means they have to dedicate a lot of resources just making sure there's no one flanking, no one's pushing through B, nothing of the sort. They've not got enough numbers to actually have that security automatically. Vault spots out Keto as well.
Only further weakens this big offense. Crucial is weak himself, but like you said, they still have enough members that while they are stretching their resources fairly thin, they have this additional presence on both bomb sites.
$28, already losing out so much HP. All 3 players are incredibly low. Keto.
Crucial's got a nade.
That's going to be everything. That just means it's the end. That nade comes through. The bomb's been dropped as well before it can be planted. Big was too weak as it started, and Into the Breach keep 3 players alive. A very comfortable round, even if it did look like there were 1 or 2 moments where it could have been even more in their court.
Yeah, I mean, Rollin could have certainly won his middle fight, but there was an immediate response via the Into the Breach roster, getting aggressive over towards A ramp, where tabseN was trying to take space, and I think Keto also similarly fell. Oh, wow, that's how tabseN dies. So that's not really tabseN's fault. When one smoke phase is on top of another, there can sometimes be this additional dark cloud that actually can sometimes outline players inside of smokes.
Ah, yes. Source 2 will fix it, guys.
That is one of the things that Source 2 certainly will fix.
Or bring in new issues. You never really know.
Yeah, I mean, certainly
game
could,
engines.
but it's just the way that sprites are rendered here in the Source engine sometimes overlaps over player models, so what can you do? Into the Breach will take it, though. Their first gun round, they find success, and it puts Big down to immediate pistols.
Keto's gone. Hype will trade it out, but really doesn't matter at all. Big won't even do substantial damage. Into the Breach are breezing through this one, and I already start to be a little bit curious about whether Anubis will be a better showing from the Big Cloud.
It might have to be. Didn't even realize, Thomas has kind of been slowly and silently chugging away at all these rounds. He's maybe not been the one that's been opening them, but he's been finding a lot of the sort of subsidiary frags.
He had some pretty good opening kills again on the T side, in all fairness. You think of the flicks and whatnot on the A side when he's just pushing through ramp.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's like the one round I can think of where he was, really at the the forefront of the action, but we haven't really seen a lot of his kills directly. But he's at 20, so
Train engine continues, man.
the tank engine.
Ah, sorry, my bad. Yeah, well, you know what? Engines are engines, and Biggs is not really performing all too well so far. Nice nade on the Tabson.
This isn't the German engineering I'd heard so much about.
Full alley control has been given up. Meanwhile, Tabson will fall. Volt just keeps them away. Even if they forfeited control over alley, they're content with just trying to contend from inside the bomb site itself. Crucial now. Fading back behind the smoke, using it as a one-way for himself. Wants to keep on fighting in and around it. Another player spotted, and Favin moves past. It's gun bullets running out, which means Crucial is dead. Oh. Favin's making a show of it. All 3 kills for him, but won't be enough. It was a 1v5, and that was too much to ask for in this first place.
Yeah, a nice bit of flair there from Favin, but Crucial also being able to step up to the plate as soon as that smoke is in front of the sandbags. Like it just plays so perfectly around it. Even was kind of teed up for success to get this follow-up kill on Favin. Just didn't anticipate that he was gonna scale up in the way that he did. And that's where he got caught off guard and whiffed the spray a bit. But I mean, that's a really commendable effort from Favin. If not for the spam back from Cypher, there was very little way that they could have traded out.
I commend Big for trying to fight out for the overtime by going for the, half by ish over here, but it does feel a little bit like they've taken the knee regardless. The round score is so overwhelming. 15-6 would make it even more so. But it's not there yet. 15 is still possibility that can be chased away. Even now, Thomas, however, has dropped the bomb, gotten the information, and you can see the rotation starting to accelerate over. All you have to do is find the frag on the Keto, and that should be game over. Tabson, position known, and Rowland on the flank makes it look easy.
And just for context, I mean, this is certainly the map that Into the Breach are the most comfortable on. It's where they have the most success against big teams on it. Not just this roster, but just the idea that Big are getting kind of pounded in the way that they are is, I mean, quite significant. And, it only adds further to the idea that Into the Breach are going to be known as one of the solid Vertigo teams that we have kind of on the precipice of breaking through. Because, I mean, Big at one point or another, we're probably the most rehearsed, one of the most procedural teams on this map, and they've been made to look like they may need a bit more practice, because Into the Breach have been picking them apart so consistently, and they only find the opener once again. They haven't cleared the sandbags either, but then there will be no Molotov to meet him. Volt just has a free round.
It should just be a guaranteed double, maybe even a triple to come through. He knows where all of these players are, all of the smokes and whatnot coming in. The utility chiming forward. Crucial's taking the attention away as well. Well, attention, he's taking his spotlight out as well. Volt just needs to come in and try and seal the deal, and indeed that's what happens. Thought he was lined up for a big multi-fry, but as he waits for his teammate, they just come and steal the glory.
Yeah, I mean, he just kept on fighting until his teammates died, and they didn't die. So, I mean, he hid until his teammates died, and they didn't. So, yeah, I mean, just great job from Into the Breach all in all. The 3 pillars that they had on that T side were doing an impeccable job at making it so difficult for Big to do much of anything. And unless you had opening kills from players like Tabson on one of those extremities players, or like Favin on areas like middle, it just felt like they had very limited control, and their options felt like they were running very thin very quickly.
And although Hype got a couple of kills here and there, it just felt like he wasn't there to serve it the same way. Crimbo as well was really lacking. If there is anyone I don't particularly blame, it's Keto on the first half. The B-bombs, I just didn't see that much action, to be honest. So, yeah, he pushed in. He got some map control at times, but when you're on a retake consistently, there's not that much to it. But, yeah, the firepower really needs to be coming up a little bit. And more than just that, it felt like Big was never getting those flashed duels as well that they are so commonly characterized with, right? You think of a big clan match, you're thinking of, yeah, they're getting kills when people are blind, and it just seems unfair. That never seemed to be happening. The counter utility wasn't quite present, and I don't know if that's a Vertigo issue, whether that's an issue about how Into the Breach's pacing is very different from traditional teams. But we're going to find the answer to that question out in just a bit as we head over to Anubis. But before that, we've got to take a short break.
very complicated job, but I love simple things so much. One move. One push. One touch. One love. One click. One XBet.
Are you sick of just opening cases? Join the events. At each event, you can find special cases from which tokens fall. Tokens are your ticket into a world of unique awards. For tokens, you can buy a skin, premium, or special balance.